Have you ever felt like different versions of yourself exist? Like there's that you that functions, get things done, keeps moving, and then something else underneath that occasionally breaks through in ways you can't quite explain? I lived with that for years before I had language for it. It doesn't mean you're broken, it helped you survive. And understanding it changed how I saw my own recovery. Welcome to Trauma Demystified. I'm Natalie Jovanich, trauma counselor and complex trauma coach with lived experience in trauma recovery. Today, I want to share a framework I heard first in Janina Fisher's training and that I use with most of my clients. Based on my own recovery, it made sense. Your brain has two hemispheres that work quite differently. The right brain is dominant in the first years of life. It has no words. It reads body language, scans for danger, and responds instinctively. As we grow older, the left brain becomes more dominant. Language develops. The left brain plans, organizes, and learns from experiences. It puts things into narrative. Under conditions of chronic childhood trauma, our brain used the natural split between the two hemispheres to help you survive. One part associated with the left brain continued with life. That's the carry on part. For me, it looked like functioning well, maintaining relationships, appearing capable, while underneath feeling the disconnect, the pain, and the shame of being different. My mother's dying process was extreme. Our home became an intensive care station while the violence escalated. I was 19, I couldn't handle it. In all of this, I did my practicum. I showed up every day. No words, just functioning. I thought it was just who I was. At the end, my body got sick. It was its way of stopping me. This pattern continued in adulthood. Carry-on parts are also called apparently normal. The term really stuck with me in the training. For how many years have I lived in apparently normal? My recovery taught me that normal and healthy aren't the same thing. Normal is what gets socially validated. Normal often excludes emotions. Healthy is something different. You feel your anger, get its message, and adjust your boundaries. You feel your body and are curious about what it wants to tell you. We can't just be in our heads to be healthy. I was well functioning in my carry-on part. I just wasn't fully me. I convinced myself to push through situations where it would have been better to step back. Many clients who start working with me are very good at apparently normal. They're not falling apart. They're also not fully alive. Healthy is what we are actually working toward. This doesn't mean we get rid of these parts. It just means we give them space to heal and become healthy. North American culture heavily rewards the left brain. Functioning, achieving, pushing through. Carry-on parts often get culturally enforced with stigmatizing phrases like, just get over with it, or move on. The apparently normal part doesn't mean the other parts aren't there, it just means they are compartmentalized. The other parts, held in the right brain, carry what was too overwhelming to process at the time. The traumatic memories, the unprocessed emotions, the body sensations that got stuck. Usually there are several of these parts sitting behind an invisible wall. You don't experience them as parts, you experience them as emotions or body sensations that feel uncomfortable at best, overwhelming and out of control at times. The emotional parts get activated when something in the present touches a similar experience from the past. Your present situation might be a 3 and it's suddenly an 8. It's a reminder that something still needs processing. The emotional parts that develop really depend on context and what has happened to you. For many people, they are connected with conflict, setting boundaries, trusting oneself, and trusting others. They can be connected with ending relationships or beginning new ones. I had intense emotional parts when my boundaries weren't respected in relationships. I also had emotional parts when relationships started or when my partner withdrew. We can have different emotional parts depending on context. Our emotions are not the problem. Present anger, responding to something actually happening right now, is information about a boundary being crossed or a need not being met. That's valuable. An activated part responds to a present situation through the lens of a past threat, often at an intensity that doesn't really match what's in front of you. The intensity is a signal. What percentage belongs to the past? What belongs to the present? The healing is learning to get curious about which is which. So these tendencies are parts of you. They are not all of you. If you can, get curious about them rather than fighting them. During trauma, we often disconnect from our core self. The self doesn't disappear. What disappears, if the trauma happened young enough, is the memory of it. Nobody remembers who they were at 1 year old. So early trauma means reconnecting with a self you have no memory of. Trauma later in life is different. There's a self you can actually remember your way back to. Before I started my recovery from childhood trauma, I had no clue that there was a self. I noticed it the first time when something slow and calm emerged and stayed. In the beginning, it disappeared again when things got rough. Over time, it stabilized. When I experienced systemic trauma as an adult after my recovery from childhood trauma, I realized that it was trauma since I felt functional but numb and dull. Joy had gone. I was seeing life, but I couldn't connect with it. Since I knew how the core self felt, I was aware that my core self had gone. And my previous recovery had given me evidence that I could reconnect. And that's what I did over time. With most of my clients, we work with the not knowing. I think that is really the complexity of childhood trauma as an adult. We work with the unknown. We recreate something people can't remember. Each of my clients has a different journey. I don't know how you will experience your core self. I found it twice. Both times I recognized it. I work with my clients so that they can recognize it when it's there. And that's what you're working towards in your healing journey. Canadian and North American culture tend to reward what we might call left brain ways of being: rational, verbal, functional, while treating emotional experiences as problems to be managed. But that is not the full human experience. We need to connect with both brain halves to live fully. That's something carry on parts want to avoid. They are usually scared to look what's behind the wall. I did significant healing work in Spain, and I do believe that my healing journey was easier there, since Spain felt more embracing of emotional parts. Cultures that suppress emotional expression, reward functioning over feeling, and stigmatize vulnerability can make it harder for people to access and process the parts behind the wall. Listening to this video is one thing. What matters is to apply it to your own life in small steps. So the next time when you notice your carry on part or yourself in carry on mode, maybe you ask yourself what might be behind the wall. I'll drop some links in the description if you want to dig deeper. In the next episode, I'll share some first steps for working with these parts, practical ways to start getting curious about your own inner system.